Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about three pieces of gear that came out this week. We're going to talk about the Survival Vest, the Lionheart Replica, and the Bale Gauntlets. Let's go ahead and dig in. So we're going to start real quick with the Lionheart Replica. Of course, it got a global buff for Thancred, which is going to give light attack 15 and slash resistance penetration 20 for Thancred. Of course, if you're going to be running Thancred at all, he is going to be given for free on the 7th day as a login bonus. This is going to be a no-brainer. One thing people might not realize, though, about the Lionheart Replica, particularly if you are a new player, is that it's actually one of the easiest pieces of equipment in the game to build. So if you are a new player out there, the +5 version of the Lionheart Replica is actually way easier to craft than a lot of the other pieces of gear in the game. So if you have sword-based characters that can equip this that are not Thancred, that might be, Mont, that could be if you have maybe Tidus or King Mont right now, Charlotte, maybe you have Noctis. There's a whole variety here that could equip this. If you don't have a +5 sword right now and you want something, you're new to the game and you want a +5 sword that you can equip for your units, this is actually going to be a really good new player, early accessible weapon for you. So keep that in mind first and foremost when you're thinking about the Lionheart Replica. And of course, if you're out there and you have a Thancred, pulling one of these for Thancred is going to be, of course, good and will actually probably be the best in slot for him. I think you can make an argument that it's not the best in slot technically if you have a Sword of Light and you're going up a non-slash resistant enemy. But I would say it's going to be so close because it's like most of the time this is going to be the best weapon for Thancred. Now, talking about the Bale Gauntlet, the Bale Gauntlet came out with the Final Fantasy XIV event. This is the third time it's come around, and I think people really kind of look down on the Bale Gauntlet. I think the Bale Gauntlet is a pretty decent piece of gear, particularly if you get the AIM version. It is a accessory. What's nice about it is it does give 8% magic resistance, and it's one of the more unique pieces of gear in the game. It gives access to dexterity and accuracy. So again, if you are a new player to the game who maybe doesn't have access to Alexandrite Ring, maybe you don't have access to some of the other accuracy-based gears in the game, such as Wolf Mask, which you can farm if you're a new player, which also has dexterity on it, or maybe you don't have silver-rimmed spectacles for your mages, right? Get that accuracy 26, blind resistance, spirit penetration, then probably Bale Gauntlet would actually be pretty good for you. And a lot of your mages can actually equip this as well. It's a very universal piece of gear. So again, if you are a new player and you keep going up against maybe these evasion compositions, or you're joining a guild and you want to be a little bit more competitive, having this dexterity up, having this accuracy up on this piece of gear is going to be a really good entry level accuracy piece of gear for you to get. Finally, we do have the Survival Vest. Now, this is the kind of touted item in the current Kraken raid. And you'll notice looking at it, it has a shield and barrier form. It also has a vital form. The shield is going to give 18 defense, 6 spirit. The barrier is going to give 12 spirit, 9 defense. And all of the forms give accuracy 3, evasion -3. It also gives single hit resistance +10 in its +5 form. And there's a variety of jobs that can equip it. Most people are going to compare this to the accessory, the pod gear, which came from the Nier Automata event, which you could only farm one of. I would actually argue that the pod is better than the Survival Vest, just by the fact that the pod actually has agility +6, accuracy +14, and it has single hit resistance 8, so you're only losing out on 2 single hit resistance, and you're gaining a lot more accuracy and agility. So I think the pod actually is a lot better than this, and I think we're in a world right now where we are constantly fighting evasion, we are constantly fighting for accuracy, and we're seeing a lot of AoE attacks, right? We're seeing a lot of Elena's AoE attacks. We're seeing a lot of AoE attacks from Jaden, right? There's just a lot of AoE attacks in the world of guild battles, in the world of pretty much arena, wherever you want to go. So to have this piece of gear come out with no agility on it, no accuracy, and it's only going to be single hit resistance 10. Yes, it's going to be great. I think if you don't have pod, you should probably farm at least 1 or 2 of these for a future when there may be a lot of single hit attacks. Maybe you need a good piece of gear, defensive gear, which this is just like a universal defensive gear. Maybe you need a clothing that's going to have single hit resistance on it. Those might be some reasons that you want to chase this. But honestly, this is going to be competing right now with the Black Garb, which is one of the best pieces of gear in the game. It gives evasion 21, it gives critical evasion 15, it gives defense penetration 20, and an additional evasion plus 10. It's also competing against Winter Coat, which is going to have evasion 29. It's going to have light resistance 10% for self. It'll give evasion plus 10 down in the box stats. There is a lot of things that Survival Vest is competing against, and particularly whether you're a new player or not, you need to consider Locke is going to be coming out in the future. Violet's going to be coming out in the future. So if you are wanting to build potentially a more free-to-play based evasion team, if you're wanting to build a light composition team, or maybe you're wanting to defend against one, right? Because Santa's Clothes does have light resistance on it. You're likely going to want to build some of those other pieces of gear, such as Santa's Clothes or such as Black Garb, because that's going to be more important for you. And maybe it'll help your account or help you be a little bit more relevant against these compositions that are coming in the future. That being said, Survival Vest may help you again in the future if you're planning to be going up against certain compositions. However, I found that over the course of the last, couple of months, single hit resistance has been significantly less important than AoE resistance. And I think that's kind of what it all comes down to here is, single hit resistance is wonderful when you're going up against enemies that will single hit. Unfortunately, every enemy pretty much has and will use an AoE attack, and you're pretty much going to get decimated by that. So I think most of the time we're not going to be farming a lot of these. Again, get one if you don't have pod. That way you do have at least some resistance in the future in case single hit meta comes or whatever that might look like. But mostly look for that Black Garb, look for that Santa Claus, and go from there. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.